The crypto market is in a really strange position. And right now, a lot of that is fueled by Elon Musk, Sam Bankman-Fried, and of course the regulators. But if you guys just take a look at what Elon Musk just said, you'd probably understand why Dogecoin is pumping right now. And actually, the entire crypto market is in a pretty good position, with BNB being up 15% throughout the last week, Dogecoin 10% over the last week, and actually Litecoin and Solana also not doing half bad. Let's quickly go over this Elon Musk interesting news, and guys, make sure you press that like button if you're enjoying the daily crypto videos. If Apple and Google boot Twitter from their app stores, Elon Musk should produce his own smartphone. Half the country would happily ditch the biased, snooping iPhone and Android. The man builds rockets to Mars. A silly little smartphone should be easy, right? And Elon Musk said, in his own style, "I certainly hope it does not come to that, but yes, there's no other choice. I will make an alternative phone." Now, the moment he tweeted that, Dogecoin started going absolutely wild. And honestly, rightfully so. I mean, I think every single one of us has once questioned the ethics behind the phone we're using right now. However, I'm not so sure that with Elon Musk as the spearhead, it will be a lot better. As you gotta understand, this is the man behind the one platform for everything, and also the man behind the little Neuralink thing. So is it really better? That I do not know. What I do know though, is that a lot of exchanges right now are in trouble. You have to understand one thing. Right now, there's a very big debate between Kraken, Coinbase, Grayscale, Binance, all these guys, and they're basically trying to get to the bottom as to who's wrong, who's insolvent, and whether or not the proof of reserve system that's now been put in place for a little while is actually the right way to do it. That's a very big part of the drama that's been going around. And right now, right recently, the Kraken CEO said to Binance, "Hey, if you're putting up proof of reserves, it does not matter for anything unless you also put all the liabilities in there." Because the whole idea behind proof of reserves is how much do you have versus how much do you owe your customers or your clients. And that's exactly what they got to prove. Now, that and much more we have. Let's take a little bit of a look. So there's actually a couple of articles that are stating right now that Genesis is under investigation by the US regulators. And this one I can't open, even though my ad blocker is turned off. I'm not so sure what's wrong with this website for not allowing it. But basically, questions are being raised because FTX gave millions of dollars away to politicians, right? But just 2 weeks before they went bankrupt, they donated $1 million to a Republicans fund. People, of course, are questioning all that. And now the bigger questions about everything start to also become apparent. Like, for example, what's happening with the SEC and what's happening with the link between Congress and the SEC and all that related stuff. Now, take a look at this article right here. SEC chair under US Congress radar over Celsius, Voyager, and FTX failures. That is interesting. That is very interesting. The US SEC chair, Gary Gensler, has been under constant scrutiny of Congress for its approach towards the digital asset industry. Now, that's actually something quite new, as usually they've been let quite free. Now, we don't need to read the full speech, just this little part. He's been under constant scrutiny for its approach towards digital assets. The crypto market has witnessed the collapse of major tokens, exchanges, and lending firms throughout this year. He has actually, however, testified, or is going to testify publicly. Tom Emmer mentioned that Congress doesn't rely on planted stories in progressive publications, which is funny when we think about the whole FTX situation and about how the media is portraying all that. To gain details on the SEC's oversight agenda, they are looking forward to Gary Gensler's public testimony before Financial Services GOP. However, experts have claimed that the SEC and several other watchdog groups might help SBF to get away from the crisis he made. And that is honestly the biggest news story we have for today. That's the biggest drama behind it all, the biggest drama, as it was first Terra Luna, then there was 3AC, then whole Shroud just came falling down. And again, even in different cryptos, we're seeing right now that the whole house of cards is falling in the wake of some things that happened before. Now, this is actually highly disputed. Right now, they're saying it's all about the leadership, not actually about the funds. I believe that's what Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, said, because apparently the Curve finance of Cardano shuts down as Three Arrows Capital-led funding dried up. However, all you got to understand about this one is there's a big house of cards, and piece by piece it is falling. And right now, a lot of those pieces have not fallen yet, but they still will. The worst thing that these regulators can do is fight it fully. They just have to regulate it properly so these things can happen anymore. But by fighting it, all they're doing is pushing these already kind of sketchy companies into further corners. Like, for example, the fact that FTX was not a fully US company. I mean, did it really help out the world? No, I wouldn't say that. I would say if they had fully regulated it and all these parties could just stay in the US, they'd have more control when things actually do end up going wrong. And I do appreciate that, which I appreciate about Ripple staying in the US, but I've already said that before. There's some interesting stuff going on. 400 million XRP has all of a sudden been shifted in the past week, it says. Well, also 400 million XRP was all of a sudden moved in about 5 hours or so, in the span of 5 hours. And it made me think. Very often I think about these centralized issues or so, even though this is not one of them. I think about, okay, who has the highest amount of coins? Why is this person moving them? Why is he buying them? And right now, one of the biggest hit pieces, is about Crypto.com's Crow. Who owns the most Crypto.com tokens? Crow facing massive price pressure as transparency drives exposes misstep. It's a very interesting question. It really freaking is. Exactly how does the token work behind all that? Now, I don't actually have the answer for you, and I don't think my answer would actually be that useful either. You know, I know the history about about CRO, which used to be MCO, Monaco coin, a very long while ago. I remember that really right. Or I guess clearly it's not too long ago for my own head. Those are types of pieces or drama, though, that we don't really get the answers to quite quickly. I mean, if you take a look, it's been a very long time since we've gotten somebody to really stand up and actually talk about these centrality issues. And I think the whole FTX situation is finally bringing some more light onto it, which I appreciate. But yeah, I don't actually have the article open, which I meant to kind of explain it to you guys better this way. Let me re-explain. There should sometimes be a little bit more fear of some very big industry players with tons of a specific crypto. Now with Ripple and with the foundation behind a couple of these different cryptos, I'm not that scared because they're the foundation and they're working in the best interest of the coin nearly all the time. So don't worry about those. I worry about big holders that are for profit. The only thing they're looking out for is profit, not necessarily the outcome of what happens to the coin itself. And that you see very often with big Bitcoin whales as well. And to reiterate and to say it differently, what if this biggest holder actually goes bankrupt, which can happen to a couple of different parties? Like, for example, with Bitcoin. What if one of the biggest Bitcoin holders, for example, is a major company that's for profit and that actually goes bankrupt because of something? What happens then? And that's something we should think about. We should really think about that every now and then. However, also, what's happening in the background is MetaMask. Collecting IPs, right? We all talked about it. Now, apparently the consensus company behind MetaMask says they actually do not. Joe Lubin, who's also behind Ethereum, explains MetaMask's use of user IP addresses after an updated privacy policy revealed questionable data collection policies, and he apparently denies that MetaMask collects IP addresses, despite a community engineer admitting the same thing about yesterday. Now, privacy advocates, including Edward Snowden, have cried foul, calling the inability to opt out of the data collection a crime. And I think it is very interesting, very interesting. But they said they only connected for routing, and that's about it. However, I'm not keen enough on this technology to know exactly what they collect and what they don't. So I'll be following the story over on Twitter, where everybody explains everything. But yeah, that was it for today's little quick update, guys. That was it. I want to keep it short. Just want to keep it concise with everything that I found today. And that was it for today's video. See you guys later. Make sure you press that like button and maybe even notification bell. Adios.